So where does one start? Why is there a path? The Buddha started with suffering, and I think that's a good place to start, is that there is suffering. And it seems as natural as it is that a river flows downhill, that one seeks a way out of the suffering. So the path is the path out of suffering. And that includes not just it's any type of vexation, any type of confusion, doubt, confusion and doubt are indications that one is coming out of the delusion. So they're actually a good sign. At the time, it may not be very comfortable to not know, to be confused, to have doubts. But it's a good sign because it's an indication that you're coming out of the delusion. And the delusion is the cause of the suffering. So when you have doubt, so there's a lot of one that's on this path. There's a lot of information to sift through. How does one know? How does the confusion or the doubt, how does that disappear and leave only clarity and understanding? Who to listen to? What to do? How do you know, right? So the most direct route out of the delusion into clarity and understanding, truth, reality, is to recognize that the doubt, the confusion, doesn't exist apart from thought. If you investigate when you're confused, when you're doubting, that trying to figure out process is itself thought. So one could say, if they look at it, see, one must try to get out, back away from the trees and see the forest. So when you're frontal lobe deep in thought, you can't notice, you can't see that it is the delusion, that it causes the delusion, that it is the source of the delusion. So if you can, when you notice, and the noticing is always paramount, the awareness of what's going on is always paramount. So as soon as you notice a doubt as to, or some confusion as to what to do, what's true, notice that that thought itself is untrue. So if you keep using mind to try to validate whether mind is correct, if your basis of truth is mind, that's a very dangerous place to go, because if mind itself is the delusion, causing the delusion, then to try to validate truth by mind won't get you out. It's incredibly tricky. So if you notice, take an objective look at thought. Investigate the thought process itself and mind. So when you have a doubt, let's say, I don't know which teacher to believe, I don't know which teaching to follow, there's so much information and so many people saying so much stuff. What's true? Which path should a person take? The path that leads to truth. So the direct path to truth is noticing that doubt itself is thought. And when you notice that, maybe you'll notice the thinker. If you watch with acute awareness that from whence thought arises and to which it passes, every thought, you'll notice the thinker, if you will, or source. And that stillness from which it all arises maybe that's it. Maybe that in itself is enough. So if you notice that, from which mind arises and to which mind passes, let's say it's a doubt, then you'll come to realize that you need no teaching. You require no teachers, you require no teaching. And that's the direct path to truth. So it really switches from horizontal movement to vertical movement. Horizontal movement would be, how do I know what path, what teaching, what teacher to listen to, what teaching to follow? And then mind churning away on that and trying various different teachings and different teachers and trying by some process of elimination or whatever to find truth. But I can save you a lot of time here. You'll come full circle after you try every single, as many teachers as it requires, as many teachings as it requires, to realize that it was just but this is where it requires perhaps trust and faith, and maybe this is where grace comes in. So, what teacher should you listen to? What teachings should you listen to? What path should you follow? Which one's right? Maybe the answer is exactly the transcendence of mind. If the questions do not arise, then there's no doubt, is there? But if you keep moving horizontally, you'll notice that that movement will never end the cycle. So you really have to step out of the thought process. And just be. Because that being itself is truth. And like anything else, it'll probably take a lot of practice. It'll probably take a lot of getting back to that place where there are no doubts, there are no questions, there's just being, there's just truth and reality. Because mind will want to come back online probably. But each time it does, just recognize what it is. And let the doubt pass. Let the thoughts pass. Don't chase them, don't follow them, because that's just horizontal movement following, trying to get to the rainbow. It doesn't even exist substantially. It's not what's real. So that's the path to truth, is the transcendence of the questions. But as they pop up, as the doubt pops up, don't go to some teaching. Don't, as tempting as it is to go watch another YouTube video or read some sort of spiritual teaching, that's just mind seeking out more mind. It doesn't matter how profound that teaching seems. What mind seeks out it's just seeking more mind. So just let it pass and let it pass. Each time it comes up, you don't need to read anything. There's nothing to know, there's nothing to learn.